Absolutely. So, good morning, viewers, and thanks for having me. Our association has been in discussion with the government of Kogi State since the beginning of 2018. Number of taxes and levies were issued, and payment expected to be made by our members. Some of them are captured in the federal statute, which are resulting in multiple taxation, because once you pay those taxes at federal level, applying the same on it in the state level.
So that's the first issue.
That's one issue. The second is that there are some local taxes that are captured in the laws of Kogi State, which are recent laws of the state, which mainly are aimed towards revenue generation. And those are taxes that we consider does not apply to telecom services. For example, social services tax, environmental impact tax, effluent discharge tax, sanitation taxes, and all that. And also the amount prescribed by the Kogi State law is quite exorbitant. It's much higher than it obtains in any other state.
Can you give us a sense of how much is at stake here for the telecom players?
In terms of number,
it's
difficult to say, but it runs to several billions of naira if it's applied on all the players. So we've been in discussion, and all of a sudden over the night, Kogi State government got a court injunction, and also by the next morning, they went and closed down some of the critical sites. In the first day, it was about 3 sites closed. By the second day, about 10 sites were closed. And unfortunately, those sites happen to be major connecting sites, which is what we call the main hub sites. The implication of that is that though there are 10 sites closed down, number of them are hub sites. They connect several other sites within Kogi State and neighboring states.
But just
and by the time we counted as of Friday, over 150 sites have been affected, primary and secondary sites, within an asset code.
So multiple sites have been impacted, but just to be clear, this is not a situation where there will be no telecom service at all across these states, right? It's just in some isolated parts of the state.
Certainly not, because the border, the states that are bordering Kogi, where services, where said site that provides service links to them are within Kogi State. Once those links are down, those sites will be out of service, and those states will not be able to have telecom connection because of the impact of what's happening in Kogi.
This issue around multiple taxes, it's certainly not new for telecom players. We've been hearing about this, and it does really speak to the challenges that many of them are facing in an already difficult economy in Nigeria. Is there a potential that we could see more of this in other states from what you're hearing?
It is likely so, but there is some hope at the end of the tunnel. There is some hope because we have escalated this to highest level of government. We are now having audience with the highest level of government. Effort is being made to have telecom classified as national security and economic infrastructure, critical infrastructure. And if that is classified by law, we will have some protection against this kind of willful impact on our services. And we do hope that now that parties are discussing, over the next 2 or 3 days, we should start having some resolution of the problems in Kogi. Whether that will arise in other states or not, I cannot say it won't arise. But we are hoping that once we're able to secure protection at the highest level of government, we'll have some relief in other states. It's not unusual. We've been on it for some time. You know, the problem is that a number of the states have to raise locally generated revenue to cover some of the expenditure. And for that to happen, they look at services that are functional, and they tend to apply taxes towards those kind of functional services. And telecom happen to be one of such. And what we are saying to government is that we should look at the socio-economic impact of telecom services. Telecom is a driver of infrastructures. And we expect that if telecom services are allowed to thrive and things work well, a number of other services will ride on telecom services, which will bring more revenues to government. That's what we are saying. That other than looking at the immediate gains in terms of internally generated revenue on telecom services, they look at the long-term gain, the socio-economic benefit on the people, the driver of commerce, the driver of e-government, the driver of e-health, the driver of e-education, e-agriculture, and all of those are things that we are now driving to ensure that stakeholders understand more and embrace the longer-term benefit than the short-term benefits.
What's your view in general about the outlook for telecom services in Nigeria? Many have suggested that, you know, the whole voice era, growth era around voice is probably over. It's now about other services and trying to improve efficiency as a way of improving profits. But what's your view on the outlook for the telecom sector?
The output is bright. It's bright and good. As you may be aware, very recently, operators are now allowed by the CBN of Nigeria to participate as part of the payment service banking services. We think that will open a new frontier in financial inclusion. We are pursuing 30% broadband penetration by end of 2018. We were yesterday at the National Communications Council meeting, and the Honorable Minister did mention that we are now in the range of about 29% penetration. So that means that our target for 2018 is almost realized. And at even 30% broadband penetration, we still have a lot more to do. So the potential is very high. The outlook is bright and it's quite good. And that's why we are saying for us to continue to support the economy and be one of those sectors that have the highest direct foreign investment and also contribute significantly to our GDP, we must have the right operating environment for our members. And that's what we are driving as a body, to say, give us a healthy operating environment, give us a thriving industry, and we'll be able to support better the economy of the nation.
And as the telecom players try to begin to venture more into the, if you like, provision of financial services to some extent, can you just speak again to this issue around the states? Because I do get the sense that you will need a lot more states to be more welcoming for this to work out. And if you're already having this experience with, say, a state like Kogi, wouldn't this slow down that initiative?
I wouldn't think so, because the discussions become a lot more interesting when the telecom service is seen to be driving other services. For example, part of the conversation on Friday was that if we have service outage in Kogi, not only will it impact on telecom, it will impact on even banking services, because some ATM machines will not work. We can't support the National Petroleum Corporation and a number of other agencies that are dependent on telecom services. So what it means is that the more we are able to expand the scope of support that we provide for the economy, the more welcoming the state will be, the more guarantee we will have of a friendly operating environment. Because for the government of Kogi State, for instance, punishing telecom operators impacting on commercial services was a problem for them. So they had a moral problem between whether to continue to push down operators and impact on other services, or resolve the problem so that not only will telecom thrive, other sectors will also move. So we think that the more inclusive we are and the more participatory we are in supporting, in driving the economy, the more welcoming the state will be, particularly when they begin to see the immediate impact on the life of their citizens.
I think